Let's go, man. We're back.
It's not looking good, Chief. This Thursday night game is not
Come on.
good for the kid.
Mark's already on the downer because he's getting his ass beat by Denver defense at Javante Williams.
Denver's got 23 points right now. Javante's got a fucking otherworldly career performance against the kid. It's not looking good. Not looking good.
Oh man. Me and Mark, we come through. All right. When you guys talk trash, this is us right now. This is what's gonna represent this pod, okay? Um, we're gonna start this off crazy with the have you seen this ish coming in hot metrics. Have you
Yes, sir.
seen this ish?
Man, I
This
I didn't catch this before Mike deleted it. So, but yeah, we did talk about this offline.
let's
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
the
Let's talk about
points
it.
against. I know you and Tyler have been going back and forth in the group chat day in and day out throughout the football season. So I knew this was going to come up. But Kamish, the fewest points against. Can we
Oh
guess
my,
who that might
who
be?
who does it belong to? Who could it be? Let's see. Who doesn't show? Oh my goodness. And I don't know why it says he's 6-1. He must be winning right now on Thursday. Does he have any players?
He does, but they're ass right now. I think he's
Okay.
he's got the defense.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we are halfway through. This is the week. We are officially 7 weeks into the season. We are halfway through. I caught this yesterday. I actually caught it. I was saving it. I wanted to, and then I saw Mike message the chat and was like, "You want some pod content?" He's like, "Look at points against." And I was like, I told him to delete it. Thank you, Mike, for deleting it because Tyler would have been on another level. Um, anyway, Tyler is currently 5-1, sitting behind Thanos, who we're just this is a league pod. So let's start by saying that we've been playing fantasy for a long time. And Thanos over here, my co-host,
Yes, sir.
this is the greatest team assembled that I've ever seen in a 10-team league. Like
Okay, we'll see. We'll
no,
see,
no, no.
man.
I hope everybody tears their fucking ACLs on your squad and you go down. But um it is insane. Like the depth this year is better than Mike's last year. I said this previously, but the amount of points you're putting up every week is unreal, bro. You're just coming off of 150 burger. Did you go to Costco and get yourself a little hot dog and soda there?
Got the OG hot dog soda deal for $1.50. But yeah, the team's been pretty consistent, but for that one game where Jeremy got me, I've scored basically over 125, scored over 130 in 4 out of 6 games, and then 150 in the last game. But we'll see, man. It's tough
Hey,
with this
okay.
schedule coming up, and it's a burden to be this rich. It's like the DJ Khaled suffering from success meme. Like I don't know who to start this week, right? Because I got Kenneth Walker,
It doesn't
obviously.
matter.
I
It's
got the
over.
Derrick Henry, and I got David Montgomery, but then I got Devon A. Chain on the bench too. So I got 4 guys. I can only start
Yeah,
3.
but I think this week's over, man. Like
Yeah, it looks like it.
we might be looking on to week 8. But hate to put you on the spot, but maybe in the background you can crunch some numbers and you can give us the metrics mandate, which we've been missing since last year. All right.
Yeah.
Unless you
Fortunately, I have done a little number crunching, and my
ooh,
tentative metrics mandate is 125 for this
ooh,
season.
that guarantees
125
a
is
W.
virtually going to guarantee you a W.
That's
About
nice.
about 90, 92, 93% accuracy.
Oh, so 125 is where we want to be at the half PPR mark, right?
Yes, sir.
So going back to Ty, man, because this guy's like, uh, I'll start by saying this. Ty did have an amazing draft, right? He had a very great draft, just like you. Like if there's 2 or 3 teams I have to pick out of the bunch, obviously Thanos, um, Julian's team. I hate to say this on the pod, is fucking pretty nice as well,
Stacked. Yeah.
stacked. Um, and Tyler had depth,
Oh, here
and
we go.
we'll get into that. All right, but right now let's talk about the points against because this is important. So every year we have somebody who has a freaking fabulous record, man. You know, the 5-1s, the 6-1s, and then they play against people that don't show up. And the number one, Tyler, this is you. You're watching, you're listening. This is you, dog. You're at the bottom. You're number one. Least points against
It's the
541.
Brujeria. Year in, year out, it's the Brujeria. People are scared to play Tyler this year, apparently, because 541 points against going into this week. And there's only one other team that's under 600 points against, and that's Javi with 598 going into this week. So, you know, most teams are in the high 600s. Teams down on the lower end. Mike's got 746 points against. So people are showing up against Mike.
Yeah.
Ponch, who still hasn't gotten his first win this year, had some tough luck, man. 730 points against. Everybody else is in the high 600s, mid 600 range. But Tyler, man, what brujeria is he working on these opposing teams because nobody's scoring against him?
And crunch the numbers real quick, okay, guys? So Ty's at 541 points against, and I don't know if whoever he's playing against, they might have a little bit extra points added to him because this is a live update. But just on average, off the 541 divided by the 6 weeks that we've been, that means teams are putting up a lousy 90 points. The mandate is 125, 90 points against Ty. That's not even decent in non like a standard league, bro. Yet alone a half PPR. Insane. So
no bueno. But hey, look, I would be remiss without saying, you know, the metrics is a man of the people. Always been a man of the people. Kamish, when you played our boy Tybud the God, you're part of the reason why we're doing so bad. You said the average was 90. The commish put up 47.38 against Tyler. Yeah, so you're bringing down the average there.
Yeah, I'm bringing it down, but also like I was injured. You know, I had nobody. I literally had nobody that game. But let's talk about this trade, man. We didn't talk about this trade last time, but we had, I would say, probably one of the biggest trades go down. I mean, I know a couple pods ago, was it last year when Alex and Julian did the swap of Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase? Was that last season?
I don't know if it was last year or the season before, but obviously a very huge trade. This is probably the second biggest trade in the history of the league in terms of how high the draft value went for one of the players on this trade.
Yeah.
And right now, you know, Kamish is very confident in this trade, but once again, as a man of the people, I got to speak facts. So let's get into it, Kamish.
Listen. So when I was shopping this trade idea, let's just kick it off by, I shopped it to you. And I think you said, there's no way in hell, like, that's too much. He's not doing that. So, that original trade offer I had sent to you. So Tyler, he never texted me good morning ever since we've been friends in the history of us. I wake up in the morning, I get a good morning text from Ty. Waivers have cleared. This guy wants to make a trade. He wants Bijan. So like, no matter what you say, Ty, okay, I sent this trade that happened. The trade was Bijan, and I'm not even going to say Dontavius Wicks because he's already a free agent. Ty already let him go. He doesn't matter. It was just a throwaway anyway. So it was Bijan for Brian Thomas Jr., James Conner, and Rico Dowdle. All the metrics, all three of these guys are startable in a 10-team league. Yes or no?
Yeah, I'd say two out of three are guaranteed starts.
Rico's not a flex?
That's tough. I mean, he didn't look good last week. So
the Cowboys
it depends on how that shakes out. Yeah,
week.
I mean, I don't think you're starting all three of those guys every week, is what I'm saying. You might start 2 out of 3 for the remainder of your season, but you're not comfortable starting those 3 guys for the remainder of your week or the remainder of the season. Like, yeah, week in, week out, those 3 guys, I don't think you don't want those to be your starters every week. Like, if you're relying on a Rico Dowdle to be your RB2 or flex, probably not the best decision. Obviously, there's some trade rumors there. Cowboys look really bad. Offensive line is not what it used to be. So, could you start all 3 of those guys? Yes, of course. But should you start all 3 of those guys every week? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as a flex, just looking at Rico's last, because obviously he's been taking over, right? So 11 attempts for 46 yards and a touchdown. The week before that, against a tough Pittsburgh defense, 20 carries for 87 yards. And like even in this blowout, I mean, the score was 47-9, guys. He still managed to get 8 points. He had 5 receptions for 30 yards, plus his, he did okay. He averaged 5 yards a carry on the ground. But I mean, it's all through the Cowboys. They start slow every year. I mean, if you compare CD Lamb's numbers last year to this year, he's like exactly the same. It was after their bye, like starting week 7, when CD really started to pick up, and he ended up, wide receiver 1 toward the end of the season, and the Cowboys offense really started to click down the stretch. But um, going back to the point is, I got 3 starters who I believe are starters, right? Even Rico as a flex. I'm high on Rico being a flex, but um I got 3 guys who I can punch in every week. Obviously, James Conner had been consistent up until that trade. He's been averaging around 15, which is like Bijan hasn't been doing that. He's been missing this whole season. I knew he was going to blow up against Carolina. I still traded him because I didn't think I would get this value again. And like to end it on this note, I sent this trade to the 14 team league that I'm on. And dog, we got ambushed. We got made fun of, bro. They called my league a short bus league, and they were talking trash.
Yeah, I could see that, but like as I've always said, yesterday's price is not today's price, Kamish. And when you're coming off a trade like this of everybody's eyes are going to be on it, and this is why we didn't talk about it last week. Everybody was out there. You didn't talk about the league enough last week. You guys talked about your first round mock draft, so on and so forth. You didn't talk about league stuff. We need to see some evidence of what this trade is going to look like before we're ready to comment on it. And look, Kamish, you got 5 attempts from scrimmage out of Rico Dowdle. That's not good. That is not good.
Bro, it
Compared
was
to let me finish.
47 to
Let me finish. I
9.
know. It's look, you could talk matchups all day, but in the same game, the same week, Bijan Robinson breaks off 95 yards and 2 TDs. So remember, we're not talking yesterday's price. We don't care what Rico Dowdle did through the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. We care about what Rico Dowdle did after your trade and what
I
Bijan Robinson did after your trade. And so far, Bijan Robinson has definitely performed. I mean, he scored his highest game of the season after
Against
Ty
the
traded for him.
Panthers.
Again, yeah,
Against the Panthers.
of course. But look, we're talking about the trade post trade. We can't talk about performance before the trade. We need to look at who's doing better after the trade. And right now, after 1 week, Tyler's
Okay,
won
yeah.
the trade after
Okay.
1 week.
Yeah, if we look at it that way, okay, yeah, after 1 week. But I strongly, firmly believe, and I think a lot of you believe that are listening to this shit, that there's no way in hell, unless like 2 of these guys get injured, that by the end of the season, like Brian Thomas Jr. has been a top 7, top 6, top 5 whiteout 3 times this year. We're 6 weeks in. Like this guy has the potential to finish top 10 this season. So losing Rasheed Rice, getting Brian Thomas Jr. as somebody who I can plug in, when I need to. With James Conner, he's gonna be streaky, but so is Bijan Robinson, man. And you know what? I'm gonna make a bold prediction right now. Ty, 5-1, you would have to absolutely fumble the bag to not make the playoffs. I'm not counting you out of the playoffs. I think you will get there. Um, but Bijan is gonna fucking let you down so bad in one of these playoff matchups. And I can't wait to see it, man. That is my bold prediction.
We'll see. We'll see. It's this is what makes fantasy great. But look, man, you traded 3 guys for 1 guy, and 2 of them are on your bench right now. So right now,
My
as
lineup
of
has
as
set
of this week,
metrics.
as of this week, you're starting James Conner. You got Rico on your bench. You got BTJ on your bench. So Right now, it's looking like a 1-for-1 trade because
No,
you're starting
that's not
Connor.
my lineup. Do you want me to fix my lineup right now while I got you on
Well,
the air so you
yeah.
can
Well, obviously Rico's on a bye, so it doesn't make too big a difference. But
exactly?
you could. I don't think you're going to plug in BTJ
I
over
have to.
AJ Brown or Deontay. Well, if Deontay doesn't play, perhaps.
Deontay most likely is going to get scratched
Yeah,
this
if he
weekend.
doesn't play, then
Yeah,
maybe. But I mean, look, it's 1 week. We're right now, and we could track this week after week. That's
it's
that's
going to
the
be
benefit of
live
having the
updates.
pod. That's the benefit of having the pod is that we could do these advanced metrics and stuff like that. Because right now, Commish, it's 1-0, Tyler.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
1-0, Tyler, right
I'll
now.
give it to you, and I knew that coming into this. So Ty, congrats on winning the trade so far. But I promise you, man, and anybody that wants side action that's listening to this, hit me up, man. I will take the side bet that by the end of week 14, should we do just regular season or no? It counts, right? Playoffs count.
Yeah,
Those are
playoffs
big
count.
time
I mean, if
games.
you're both in the playoffs, yeah,
Yeah.
should count. Yeah.
So I will take that. If we're keeping track, one point every week, either me or Ty is going to get the point. By the end of this pod, I will have more points than Ty. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you have 3 players versus 1, so it's going to depend on whether you're using the players that were, traded in there,
Yeah.
or whether or not who's basically positional scarcity and substitute value, and those are advanced metrics that that I can do, right? I
Yeah.
could do the math behind those, so I will be tracking this on behalf of the pod, but and behalf of the league, so. Stay tuned. We'll track all these trades. Right now our trade is looking pretty interesting as well, with Kyle Pitts finally showing up for your boy, for you finally,
Thank you. He
and
didn't want to ball out for you.
he didn't
He
want to
wants to
ball out
play
for
for
me.
me. He wants
No,
to play for me. That's just like Bijan didn't want to play for me. Stupid asshole.
just
Now
an
he's
absolute hater.
now he's playing. Hey, but see, like our trade, we could talk about it if you want, because I feel like there's no way.
Wait, there's more to
There's
see.
no
There's more
way.
to see.
There's no way.
You think you won
We
that
should do the
trade too?
point system. Absolutely. You gave me the second most targeted wide receiver in football through 6 weeks.
And I got
Deontay
the best
Johnson.
tight end in football, and I have the best team in the league. Like which
No,
which
no,
one's going to
no.
bring me closer to the
Okay.
championship?
Okay. Look, I did mess up metrics, and I'll say this: I did mess up by giving you what you were weak on. That
Exactly.
was your
Right.
only weakness.
Yeah.
So, but also, like, I lost Rasheed Rice, and since the trade, like Pitts and what's his name? I already forgot. He's off my
Deontay?
team. No, you're tight end, bro.
Oh, Trey McBride.
Trey McBride. Thank you. So Pitts and McBride, they've been going at it like back and forth. Like it's been, that's what makes this trade, I think, for me, because on the plus side of it, I did get Deontay Johnson, but also, if you look at it on the flip side, he was a waiver wire for you, which was just a big come up. You pretty much got Trey McBride for whatever round you took Kyle Pitts in. So,
And look,
yeah,
like there's an argument to be made of obviously like the positional scarcity and like whether I'm starting a Deontay Johnson, because the Red Rifle did not look good last week. Obviously, Deontay's great and he's going to get a ton of targets, but uh, ultimately he's probably going to be in the flex position because he's not at this point outscoring CeeDee Lamb. He's not at this point outscoring Devontae Smith. So, and he's certainly not going to be starting over David Montgomery in the flex. So,
yeah,
in
your
terms
team
of
is too stacked. Your team is too
yeah, in
stacked. Like
terms of like making a trade, it might be a win-win. Might end up being a
yeah,
win-win, and it
yeah.
might end up being a win-win on your and Tyler's trade as well. But
Oh no, for
yeah,
sure. Like I think that if you look at it, like it's definitely a win for both of us. Like that was such a good trade for both of us. Cause like I said, and I said this to you since the beginning of the season. I knew your team was stacked, but I said, yo, you need a tight end. And I know I was trying to shop TJ Hawk to you, for a while. He's almost back, thank goodness, because I have that option to flip and flop with Kyle Pitts. But I'm just happy it worked out the way it did, losing Rasheed Rice. It kind of gave me a little bit of life to kind of compete, back in here again. But I want everybody that's listening to this pod and looking at this screen right now. If you're not looking, go to the restroom. If you're at work, I don't know. You got to look at this. This is the most ass-tastic bench in our league.
whose
There's
team are we on?
absolutely. This is Tyler's Ty Bud the Gods team. Okay. After he made that trade, I just want to point this out. This guy is one injury away. I mean, he's starting Cooper Cup right now. He's not even clear to play yet. All right. This bench is so bad. Patrick Mahomes should not be on a roster. He should not. Mark,
I
can you
just
finally
disagree,
agree?
man. I
Can you
no, I just
finally
disagree.
agree? Can
I
you
just dis
finally agree on Patrick Mahomes?
Well,
That
okay. On Patrick Mahomes, sure. I'll give you that one. Like
how
that
much
one's
trash do you talk on Jonathan Brooks? Let's go down the line. How much
yeah,
trash
yeah.
do you talk?
But
Okay,
you
that's
love
already two.
Jonathan Brooks. You
Yeah,
love Jonathan
yeah. But
Brooks.
I asked you. I
So
asked you.
you can't play both sides, bro. Do you like him or
Yeah,
not? Is he ass
I
or not?
I haven't seen him play. I haven't seen
Yeah.
him play yet. I'll
I
be
mean, I
honest.
think he's ass, but you seem to think he's good. But look,
Uh,
Garrett Wilson, I think is going to be fine. I think he's still going to get a
oh,
ton of volume there. That's like I
he's
know
not
a
going to be getting
contentious top.
23 targets a game.
Well, I mean, nobody's getting 23 targets. That's like such an outlier game,
He did
right?
it. He did it once.
But
Uh,
there's the classic argument like, this goes back, since we've been playing fantasy football for damn near 20 years. Whether when you have these two wide receiver sets, whether a wide receiver one of Devontae Adams' talent is going to open up the offense for a Garrett Wilson, he's going to draw double coverage, so Garrett Wilson is going to get the underballs. That's the same argument we've been talking about since the topic that I brought up, going on 10, 12 years ago. Roddy Rice and Julio Jones, right? Roddy Rice back then with the Matt Ryan offense was the number one wide receiver through, at least probably a top three pick
when
in fantasy
Julio got
drafts.
hurt,
And
right,
then
or after he got traded.
no. This is like when they were both firing on all cylinders. Roddy White was drawing double coverage, and that allowed Julio to then become the wide receiver one overall fantasy that year. So, I mean, look, Devontae Adams is not going to be getting one-on-one balls. He's
You
clearly
you
between the
forget
two,
how much Rodgers loves this guy, man.
of course. But between the two, who's going to draw? Who's going to draw double coverage? You're not going to leave Devontae open, right?
I
So if you're going to double somebody, you're going to double Devontae. He's one of the best wide receivers in football. So that leaves Garrett Wilson open. It's the same situation where you have like a Devontae Smith versus an AJ Brown. Devontae Smith is getting all these underballs. Garrett Wilson's a smaller wide receiver than Devontae, and he's going to be getting these underballs. And in a half point PPR, that makes a difference.
I think like we're right, not to over exaggerate, but I do think this is going to impact the volume for Garrett like a lot. And I think the wide receiver that's going to benefit the most from these guys is Alan Lazard playing the slot.
That guy's fucking
He
ass, dude. Let's be
dude,
honest. Alan Lazard is ass.
look,
He's all that they have right now. But
he-
let's not pretend like Alan Lazard's like a starting wide receiver on any other team.
he's a starter, bro. He was before Adams came into he was actually doing good. Should we pull up his numbers? Like,
Look at last season, Alan Lazard,
yeah, last season, but
and the
this
season
season.
before that with Rodgers in Green Bay, he wasn't doing anything. Like he's not somebody you're comfortable starting. He's gonna have these games like last game where there's nobody else to throw to, but nobody wants to start Alan Lazard.
Yeah. But I mean, traditionally, when you're looking at wide receivers who have like a lot of like a Jamar Chase and a T Higgins, and when Tyler Boyd was on the team, like the slot receiver, you can't cover all that. So slot receivers tend to eat more, especially in zone coverages. So I think Lazard's gonna be fine. I think Wilson is obviously gonna see like these targets are gonna go to Adams.
But
That's beside
Garrett plays out of the slot as well. And
yeah,
remember, like Lazard was playing on three wide sets on the outside edge this
yeah.
past game. That's how he caught the deep Hail Mary pass.
Besides that, like if we're really honestly looking at this, your Singletary is ass, Mahomes is ass, Jake Ferguson is nice, but he's on a bye, so that means David Njoku is going to get dropped right after this. Tyler's bench is Garrett Wilson when it comes down to it. That's his bench, man, and like he gave up so much depth to acquire Bijan when I feel he didn't need it. Like James Conner was outperforming Bijan, but I think that this is gonna hurt in a few weeks, man. Down the line, in the long run.
We'll see. We'll see because look,
I mean,
Devin Singletary, who I think is ass too, has not had a game with single digit attempts from scrimmage this season when he's been healthy. And Rico Dowdle has played 6 games this season and he's only gone over double digit attempts from scrimmage twice. So you can make the argument on usage and volume. Devin Singletary is going to be the better guy, the more reliable back there because he's getting more usage. So all this is a big what if. We got to see how this works out over the next couple weeks, over the next 4 or 5 weeks before we can determine who really won this trade. But right now, like we said,
Let
it's Tyler. So let's get into this. Let's get into the league rankings, Commish, because I know
we
the
don't.
league
Yeah,
last week wanted to hear a little bit more. You probably want to hear us talk shit on your team or big up your
punch,
team. So let's
punch,
get into this.
punch. I'm not even gonna click on your team name, dog. You're fucking garbage. This is the worst team you've ever drafted. You have to win one game to avoid Tyler's famous 0-13 season, and you even get an extra game, punch. Because now, when that happened to Tyler, it was 13 game seasons. Now it's 14. Please, you got to win one, dude. That's all I have to say about Punch's team.
Punch is cooked, bro. I mean, it's tough. There's
There's
not
nine.
really anything to look at that's good here.
There's
You
nine
know,
spots left. To the IR we go on a 2-game win streak. Jeremy, man, does he have life, or are we writing the boy off, man, with no
I,
McCaffrey?
Yeah, look, without McCaffrey, so far he's managed to beat the best team in the league, right? In my team, the highest scoring team in the league,
Ooh,
on a
upset
week where
special.
when I had an HN concussion, but yeah, I think this team is good. I think this team is good, and I think it could obviously once he gets Christian McCaffrey back, if it is week 7, like people are saying it might be, I could see this team pulling a Javi and kind of slipping into the playoffs through the back door because Joe Burrow has been excellent this season. The Cincinnati offense is going great. You guys know how much I think about how highly I think about Mike Evans. I think he's got the best hands in football.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's a good team.
I
It's a
don't
good
think
team.
it's a good team, man. I mean, if we're being real, Burrow, Mike Evans, okay.
Yeah.
Debo is so sketchy. Jordan Mason, who knows how many more weeks we get of Jordan Mason, but Jordan's a stud. Hubbard is on his way to split carries soon. We were just talking about Jonathan Brooks lately. Mark
We'll
Andrews
see.
is not startable. He is not startable. Smith is streaky. It could be Lockett, it could be DK any given week. And then his bench is just he's waiting for a home run. Nick Chubb, Trey Sermon shouldn't belong on a roster. Jerome Ford shouldn't belong on a roster. Keon Coleman should not belong in a 10-team roster. And Kimani Vidal, come on, bro.
Yeah, that's just a lotto ticket right there. He's hoping that this guy shows up. I mean, looked good last week in goal line situations. Got that. I believe it was a pass for a TD. Kimani got one last week, but yeah, I just don't think the team's as bad right now as it's going to be in 4 or 5 weeks. I think it'll be better if McCaffrey comes back, especially
Yeah.
because Debo is very reliant on McCaffrey keeping defenses honest. And right now, Mason is good, but he's not. He's not. They're not running the entire offense through Mason like they did with McCaffrey. But yeah, between those two teams, I think Mike's got the better 2-4 team just right now on paper with Brees Hall finally showing up, Kyron being who he is, and that's a more well-rounded team between those two.
Yeah, I actually like this is like somebody that's potential. We're talking like is going to be in there till the end. I think this team, Brees Hall, Kyron, like you talked about, he actually picked up Xavier Worthy on waivers. How did anybody drop him? By the way, like the why we have yet to see what the Chiefs wide receivers are going to look like after, we got one sample size and it was Juju. And I promise you, Juju's not going to be our leading wide receiver.
No
Uh,
chance.
so dropping whoever dropped Xavier Worthy, damn, you must have really needed that roster spot. Tank Bigsby looks like he's going to be taking over the backfield. Of course, Nico Collins is on IR. Sam Darnold, your boy, is on this roster. So I do like his team. He's just, we talked about points against earlier. Mike, unfortunately, is on the opposite side of Tyler with the most points against. So when people come to play Mike, they come correct, man. Maybe people are still salty that he won the ship last year, bro. And people
Maybe
are just like on playing Mike this week. All right, it's time. It's time to get it moving. It's time to go.
on
Um,
this next tier of the 3-3 teams, of which you're included, who do you like between these 4 3-3 teams?
Dang, there's a lot here, but Honestly, I'm not gonna be biased, even though I hate this motherfucker. I think Julian is the best 3-3 team. Actually, I think Julian is better than I, I think Julian's squad is second overall in my rankings.
Yeah, and I do think he's we could fit in that 4-2 Mexico team as well. And I do think
Yeah.
on paper, Julian's team is better than that, and they've scored more points. But then last week he ran into a juggernaut, 150 performance. Probably would have had a win against virtually every other team in the league. But yeah, that team's looking nice, and obviously Mexico is
This
a
team
little
is
bit.
stacked. It's stacked, bro.
It's stacked. It's very stacked, and he's going to make the playoffs. I think Tyler's going to make the playoffs as well. But Julian's team is very stacked, very good. Doesn't change the fact that he makes way too many homosexual innuendos.
Yeah, Julian, if you just stop talking about Cox for a week, man, maybe you get mentioned more on the pod. The GOAT is back. Javi. Damn, Javi's gold now. Y'all see this? We're used to Javi being platinum, man. This guy's a 703 minus 29 points from last week. But ladies and gentlemen, let's check. Let's check real quick. Week 6. Did Saquon Barkley score 30 points? Let's see. Saquon Barkley 6.4. Nope. Must have been an L. Yep, it was. So am I still batting 1,000 on this? Does Javi only win when Saquon Barkley scores 30?
Man, it looks like it, but this week we're already in trouble because, like we talked about when we started the pod,
Oh
Javante already
God.
blew up, and Denver defense already blew up, and then we got Saquon in a revenge game against the New York Giants this week at New York Giants at the Meadowlands. So
Oh
it's not looking good
damn.
for the kid this week. So I think Javi will be in the 4-3 club to my dismay by the end of this week.
Dang, man. I totally forgot about that. That's gonna be a nice revenge game. Um, Another person I was high on just because of the points for, man. Actually, Alex has been scoring a lot of points. He's been dealing, but he's been playing the wrong people, man. And as you can see, Alex is down to the bronze level, man. He's under 600. But tonight, Alvin Kamara, 5.4. That's not gonna help him this week. But another stacked team who just hasn't been healthy, man. Jonathan Taylor has been missing from his team for a good part. Evan Ingram, I don't know if he picked him up recently. Calvin Ridley has been so bad, and he's supposed to be doing so good in Tennessee. And the rest of his team, Chris Godwin, man, we talk about steal the drafts like every week, right? I know Mark is up there. We actually argue about this like all the time because I hate David Montgomery so much with the passion. He can't keep getting away with this every season, man. But David Montgomery, of course, is up there as steal the drafts. There's a lot of guys. Rasheed Rice before he got injured. Tyler has some guys that he took late. Jaden Reed. But Chris Godwin has been an absolute stud, and I think that's where he's been getting a lot of his points from. I mean, this guy's ceiling is amazing because he can go off for 30 week, and his floor this season so far is still respectable, just under 10. Like Chris Godwin has
Been an absolute
he's been
stud.
nice.
Before we get into these like top two teams, Tyler and myself, Kamish, quick question for you. Which nickname do you like better for the Jameer Gibbs David Montgomery duo? Two nicknames have been floated.
What do we got?
We got Sonic and Knuckles. I like that, right?
Oh,
Sonic
that's
being
pretty good. Yeah,
Gibbs and Knuckles being
yeah.
Montgomery. That's what head coach Dan Campbell came out with. The one I like a little bit more, since they are from Detroit, the city of Motown, right? The Rhythm and Bruise.
Mm,
I like that. I like that.
yeah.
Gibbs being the rhythm guy and Montgomery being the bruise guy. Either of those nicknames, I think, both suitable because both those guys have been great to start the season.
Yeah, man. Like, what's crazy is like you could own both of these backs and RB1 and RB2 for the season. Like,
Yes,
isn't
sir.
that nuts? Like, I haven't seen this on a squad in a very long time. Where you get two absolutely studded running backs that can go off for 20 points each, like any given week. So, um, I like the Sonic one though, a little bit more than the other one.
Sonic
just
and
because
Knuckles, love
yeah,
it.
yeah. Um, let's get into the top two, man. Wait, we can't leave without saying fuck Joaquin, dude. It's so frustrating. Fantasy's frustrating, and I will say this: I can't keep losing to this guy and not lose my shit, dude. If I lose to this guy one more time, I'm gonna crash out because he just doesn't. I don't know how to explain it, man. I hate losing to Joaquin, bro. It's like the best scenario or whatever I can give you is like this when we had our draft in Vegas. Um, and this is just to point out. Oh, before I get into that, because this will lead up to it. Do you think fantasy is more skill or more luck? Like at the end of the day, like is it more luck or more skill?
Skill.
What?
And the reason why is like, look, everybody knows I'm a gambler, right? I play a lot of poker, play a lot of I'm at the gardens and at commerce, and look, I'm a plus EV gambler, like a plus expected value gambler, because look, you're gonna shit on me that I only won the league when it was 8 teams or whatever it is. But if you take if you take return on investment, I have the highest return on investment in the league by far. And I use advanced metrics because I'm always, in the hunt for the championship. So it's
You
a
are.
high EV situation for me. That's why I think it's more skill, because I personally believe I'm using the metrics in ways that other people aren't.
Yeah, well, I believe that skill is a big part of it, but I believe at the end of the day it comes down to luck. Like, it's
Injuries or luck.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
what happens in the game or like, things like that, things to win your weekly matchup. Cause like going back to our draft in Vegas, I was at Joaquin's draft and there's this guy Eddie there, bro, and I promise you he's just there for a good time all the time. Like he does not care about winning, he does not care about fantasy. He's just there to have a good time, hang out with the boys. Well, he was blackout shit face drunk, bro. So I felt bad to him. I was sitting next to him. I was helping him fucking draft because like he was picking like seventh rounders in like the second with the second pick, and I was like, dude, no, like come on, like I kind of helped him a little bit. Derrick Henry, I picked for him. Jamar Chase. Like I pretty much drafted this guy's team. He's 5-1 with the most points in that league. And me, who like I crunch numbers too, bro. They don't call me the metrics, but I know my shit too. I'm complete opposite. I'm 1-5. I have a shitload of points, but a lot of my losses have come by like 2 or 3 points, and I know that's been the situation with Mike. It's just been an all around bad year. But I just for that reason alone, man, like it doesn't matter how prepared you are. I just feel like it's the luck of this damn schedule, man. As soon as somebody randomizes that shit, like that's what it comes down to. But
Yeah, there's definitely luck involved as well. So, obviously these injuries you can't account for, but yeah, Kamish, I don't think we need to talk too much more about my team or Tyler's team because, we're both 5-1. We've talked
yeah,
extensively about
we
Bijan
we've
Robinson
done
and about
enough.
my squad. We'll see how it goes next week. And look, everybody's going to want to tune in to see how these trades are working out because, well, I'll keep representing the people. I am a man of the people, Kamish.
The man of the people. Nothing. I mean, the matchups we have yet to see Ponch and Jeremy play each other, but at this point it doesn't matter. Like we said, Ponch 0-6. A juicy matchup, I would say, is Alex, who's 3-3, playing against Mexico, 4-2. Either of these guys can get up there. We do have 2, 3, and 3 teams playing against each other. Me versus Julian. Like I said, Julian's team has been really nice this year, so that's going to be a battle. But overall, man, I know you're down big already, but how you feeling? Anything you want to sign off on, man? On this, I know you're getting your ass mopped already, and you've been a little under the weather. You didn't want
Yeah,
to do the pod,
it's my flu game. Yeah, like MJ, but I'm still putting up 40, like MJ. So yeah, no, it's not looking good for this week, but I will end by saying the Dodgers just won 10-2. It's looking
Let's
good
go,
for them.
boys.
So shout out
Up
to all the
3-1.
Dodgers fans. Another game, hopefully we could close this out tomorrow. I'm not a Dodgers fan, as you all know, but I do support it for my boys out there, for all the Dodgers fans in the league. I'm supporting all y'all. So let's go Doyers. Let's
Yeah.
close it out.
Let's go, man. Big game tomorrow. Dodgers tomorrow is Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and then enjoy the weekend, fellas. We are officially halfway through the season. All right, halfway through. Let's get it, man. Let's get
Let's
it.
do it. See y'all next week. Peace.
Later.